Hare Krishna, everyone. Just a humble request to please be seated. We're just about to get started for tonight. Thank you. So there's lots of space over here. If you just want to take a seat, please. And we'll get started very soon. All right, so Hare Krishna, everyone. Today is Gita Jayanti, as you know, which marks the day when the Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna by Lord Krishna. At its heart, the Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Arjuna and Lord Krishna, his charioteer, unfolding on the battlefields of Kurukshetra. Faced with the moral dilemma of participating in a war against his own kin, Arjuna turns to Krishna for guidance. This teaching transcends time, urging us all to navigate life with a sense of purpose and responsibility. So, today, on this auspicious occasion of Gita Jayanti, we will celebrate by reciting the 700 verses of the Gita, divided in 18 chapters. We have assigned reciters for each chapter, and we will be alternating between English and Sanskrit for each chapter. We encourage everyone to follow along in the reading, and if you wish to purchase a copy of the Gita, it is available in the hallway at a very special price for today. We will also have the verses displayed on the screen over there. So this reading of all the chapters should take around 3.5 to 4 hours, and we will be taking a short break at around 7:30, and we will also have a brief presentation by the Sankirtan team at that time. So we do request all the reciters to be prepared for their portion of the reading by being in the seating area prior to their chapter of reading. And now we will commence. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
अथ श्रीमद् भगवत् गीता परमात्मने नमः अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः श्री अर्जुन विषादयोगो नाम धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय सञ्जय उवाच दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकं व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यम् उपसंगम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत्। पश्यैतां पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्यमहतीं च मुं व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येन धीमता। अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुनसमायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः। दृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः। युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्त उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः। अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान् निबोधद्विजोत्तम। नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते। भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदित्तिस्तथैव च अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः। नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणा सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः। अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं त्वमिदं एतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्। अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागम् अवस्थिताः भीष्मं एवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि। तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षं कुरु वृद्धः पितामहः सिंहनादं विनद्योच्चैः शङ्खं दद्मौ प्रतापवान्। ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च पनवाणकगोमुखाः सहसैव्याभ्यहन्यन्त सशब्दस्तु मुलोऽभवत्। ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महती स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः। पञ्चजन्यं हृषीकेशो देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दद्मौ महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मावृकोदरः। अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तिपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सह देवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ। काश्यश्च परमेशाश शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः। द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान् दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक्। सघोषोतार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यधारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलोऽभ्यनुनादै। अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा तातराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुर्वुद्यम्य पाण्डवः। हृषीकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् आह महीपते। अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युता यावद् एतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामान् अवस्थितान्। कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे। योत्स्यमानान् अवेक्षेऽहं ययेते अत्र समागताः तार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेर्युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः।
संजय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्। भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्येतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति। तत्रा पश्चात् स्थितान् पार्थ पितॄन्नथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रात्रान् पुत्रा पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि। तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धून् कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत्। अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितं सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति। बेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं संश्रते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोऽनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नो राज्यं भोगाः सुखानि च ते इमे तस्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्रास्तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलः श्वशुरा पौत्रः श्यालः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान्न हन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतोः किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्याज्जनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयोदस्मान् हत्वैतानाततायिनः तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् सबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव यद्याप्येतेन न पश्यन्ति लोभे पहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान्निवर्तितुं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्येद्याज्जनार्दन कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मः सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः संकरो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियाः दोषैरेतैः कुलघ्नानां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्मः कुलधर्मश्च शाश्वताः उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवतीत्युनुशुश्रूषुम् अहो बत महत्पाप कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तु स्वजनमद्युताः यदि मामप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्तराष्ट्रारणे हन्युस्तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत् संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये रथोपस्थ उपाविशत् विसृज्य शरं चापं शोकविघ्नमनस् ॐ तत्सद् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः।
Chapter 2. Contents of Gita summarized. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They led not to higher planets, but to infamy. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotency. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows and battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gains, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of my miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth, which is sovereignty like demigods in heaven. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. O descendant of Bharata, at that time of Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from the boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober man is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in the due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy this imperishable soul. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays nor is slain. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can neither burn nor dry. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Considering your specific duty as Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus will consider you insignificant. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and shun your ability. What could be more painful for you?
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous types of fear. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets. Result, good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distanced by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions even in this life. Therefore strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Thus, by thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and one who is free from attachment, fear and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. From anger complete delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. One who thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace, and how can there be any happiness without peace? As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is the night for the introspective sage. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God.
श्रीमद् भगवद गीता अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच जायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनां न कर्मणामनारम्भान् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यस्यनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्यकर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्धेद कर्मणः यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर सह यज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसिद्धिष्वध्वम् एषवोष्टिष्टकामधुक् देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवा दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान् अपराध्यैभ्यो यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्यसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवं तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम् एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामो मोघं पार्थ स जीवति यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्याद् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्नेव च सन्तुष्टस्तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिद् अर्थव्यपाश्रयः तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानावाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि यद्यहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामिमाः प्रजाः सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तश्चिकीर्षुर्लोकसंग्रहम् न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेदज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो अनुसूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः ये त्वेतद् अभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टानचेतसः सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृते ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रह किं करिष्यति इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः। अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः। श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एष रजो गुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्धेनमिह वैरिणम्। धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निर्यथा दर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भस्तथा तेनेदमावृतम्। आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च। इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिरस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येष ज्ञानम् आवृत्य देहिनम्। तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्। इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुरिन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिर्यो बुद्धे परतस्तु सः। एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्। ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः।
Chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed the science to him? The personality of Godhead said, many, many births, both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whatever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise in religion, at that time I descend myself. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear, millennium after millennium. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving this body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my transcendental abode, O Arjuna. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge in me, many, many persons in the past became purified by my knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. As all surrendered unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men gets result from fruitive activity and fruitive work in this world. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. Even the intelligent are bewildered by determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what is inaction. One who sees an action in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Abandoning all attachments to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. He who is satisfied with gain which comes from its own accord, who is free from dualities and who does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered of the same spiritual nature. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses and the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of senses in the fire of the senses. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and the life breath as oblations in the fire of the controlled mind. Having accepted strict vows, some become entangled, some becomes enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism or by studying the Vedas in advance in transcendental knowledge. Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remains in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance towards the supreme eternal atmosphere. O best of Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? All these different types of sacrifices are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are part and parcel of the Supreme, or, in other words, that they are mine. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you're situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you'll be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions of material activities. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is mature fruit of mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses and eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting of soul, there is happiness neither in this world or in the next. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his action, and who doubts having been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches. Therefore, the doubt which has arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharat, stand and fight.
Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi yachreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Shri Bhagavan uvacha sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyasa karav ubhau tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Jnaya sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Sankhya yoga prithak balaha pravadanti na panditaha ekam apyasrita samyog ubhayor vindate phalam yat sankhye prapyate sthanam tad yogerapi gamyate. Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha ya pashyati sapashyati sanyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogatah yoga yukto munir brahma na chirenda digacchati yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvan api na lipyate. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit pashyan shrinvan spishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swashtan pralapan visrijan grinan unmishan nimishan api indriyarindriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan brahman yadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha लिप्यते न सपापेन पद्मपत्रम इवाम्भसा कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवले इन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति संगम त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये युक्तः कर्म फलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिम् आप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम् अयुक्तः कामकारेण फले सक्तो निबध्यते सर्वकर्माणि मनसा संयस्यास्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कार्यं न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्म फलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषामादित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परं तद्बुद्धयस्तदात्मानस्तत्त्वमसि तन्निष्ठास्तत्परायणः गच्छन्त्य पुनरावृत्तिं ज्ञाननिर्धूतकल्मषाः विद्याविनयसम्पन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनि चैव श्वपाके च पण्डिताः समदर्शिनः इहैव त्यजितः सर्गो येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् भ्रमणि ते स्थितः न प्रहृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य च प्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वसक्तात्मा विन्दत्यात्मनि यत् सुखं स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखमक्षयमश्नुते ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्य अन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः शक्नोति हैव यः शोधुं प्राक् शरीरविमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः योऽन्तः सुखोऽन्तरारामस्तथान्तर्ज्योतिरेव यः स योगी ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः कामक्रोध विमुक्तात्मां व्यतीतानां यत चेतसाम् अभीतो ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं वर्तते विदितात्मनां स्पर्शान् कृत्वा बहिर्बाह्यां चक्षुश्चैवान्तरे भ्रुवोः प्राणपानौ समौ कृत्वा नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ यतेन्द्रियमनोबुद्धिर्मुनिर्मोक्षपरायणः विगतेच्छाभयक्रोधो यः सदा मुक्त एव सः भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति। हरे कृष्ण।
Chapter 6, Dana Yoga. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty." What is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. For one who is a neophyte in the Eightfold Yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. A practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusa grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high or too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact.
One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon, without exception, all material desires born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. The yogi, whose mind is fixed on me, verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Thus the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere.
For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. Arjuna said, O Madhusudan, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work, but he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness, and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Or, if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately, achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
Hare Krishna. Say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Loudly Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatagyasasi Tachrunu Jnanam Teham Savigyanam Idam Vakshamya Seshata यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यज् ज्ञातव्यम् अवशिष्यते मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः भूमिरापो नलो वायुः कं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहङ्कारमितीयं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत् एतद्योनिनि भूतानि सर्वाणीत्युपधारय अहं कृत्स्नस्य जगतः प्रभव प्रलयस्तथा मत्तः परतरं नान्यत् किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव रसोऽहम् अप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशिसूर्ययो प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दः के पौरुषं नृषु पुण्यो गन्धः पृथिव्यां च तेजश्चास्मि विभागशौ जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विद्धि पार्थ सनातनम् बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम् बलं बलवतां चाहं कामरागविवर्जितम् धर्माविरुद्धो भूतेषु कामोऽस्मि भरतर्षभ ये चैव सात्विका भावा राजसास्तामसाश्च ये मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि न त्वहं तेषु ते मयि त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावैरेभिः सर्वमिदं जगत् मोहितं नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम् दैवी एषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढा प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमा मायया पारितज्ञाना आसुरं भावमाश्रिता चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जना सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्थो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्त एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोत्यर्थम् अहं स च मम प्रिया उदाराः सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्वैव मे मतम् आस्थिताः संयुक्ताः मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम् बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महात्मा सुदुर्लभः कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृता ज्ञाना प्रपद्यन्ते न देवता तं तं नियममास्ताय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया यो यो यां यां तनुं भक्तः श्रद्धयार्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याचलां श्रद्धां तामेव विदधाम्यहम् स तया श्रद्धया युक्तस्तस्याराधनमीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मय्येवाभिधानि तान् अन्तवत्तु फलं तेषां तद्भवत्यल्पमेधसाम् देवान् देवयजो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिमापन्नं मन्यन्ते मामबुद्धया परं भावमजानन्तो मम व्ययम् अनुत्तमम् नाहं प्रकाश सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मूढोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम् वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्यानि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इच्छाद्वेषसमुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप येषां त्वन्तगतं ये द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रता जरामरणमोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्म तद्विदुः कृत्स्नम् अध्यात्मं कर्म चाखिलम् साधिभूतादिदैवं मां साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकालेऽपि च मां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानविज्ञानयोगो नाम सप्तमोऽध्यायः। हरिः ओम्।
Thing, right?
Chapter 8. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities.
O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adhibhuta, the material manifestation, the material form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adhidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Supersoul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adhignana, the Lord of sacrifice.
And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me, and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Parth, is sure to reach me.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smarter than the smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature.
One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviated mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation.
The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets.
For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night.
At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated.
Yet there is another unmanifest nature, which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him.
O best of Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery God, in the light, at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north.
The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back.
According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns.
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas. Performing austere sacrifices, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Hare Krishna. So Gita Jayanti ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're about at the halfway mark for the program tonight. So this is a time where we're going to ask everyone to get up, to stretch, and do everything else because, of course, it's been a long time sitting. But before we do that, we're going to just have a short presentation from the Sankirtan team. So if I could call up Shama Mohini Mataji to speak a few words. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Wishing you all a very happy Gita Jayanti. We're very fortunate that we have this opportunity to come to the temple, all of us together, and read the Bhagavad Gita. Those who are watching online are also very fortunate. Manushya Nam Sahasreshu. There's very, very few people who get this opportunity to associate with the Bhagavad Gita. We have that fortune. In the material world, when people have good fortune, they like to keep it all to themselves. But by the power of time, it goes away anyway. But in spiritual life, when we get something, some fortune, it increases when we share with others. So this Gita Jayanti, the day when the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, is especially dedicated all over the world, not just to come together and read the Bhagavad Gita, but also to share it with anybody we meet and anywhere we go. The Bhagavad Gita has Lord Krishna's essential teachings. It is the essence of all the Upanishads, and it is read by people from all different walks of life. It provides knowledge in times of need, and it gives us the direction by which we can live our lives. So if anybody in the audience does not have a Bhagavad Gita today, please take this opportunity on this very glorious day to take the words of Lord Krishna, his instructions, to your home and into your life and your heart. And if you have the Bhagavad Gita already, please take some Bhagavad Gitas to gift to your friends, because there is no one more dear to the Lord than he who shares this knowledge, nor will there ever be, as stated by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita himself. So please take the opportunity to take the Bhagavad Gita. There is dedicated volunteers standing out at the table there to give you your copy of the Bhagavad Gita in any language that you like. There's a nice display here. Any language you think of, most likely we have it, and if not, we'll arrange for it. There's also Maha Bhagavad Gitas on the altar. So when the doors open at 8 o'clock, you'd be able to see the Bhagavad Gitas. You can take them as well. They've been there since... Well, we've had a stock of Bhagavad Gitas at the altar for a long time to be able to give on this very special day. So they have a lot of potency. Also, if you have a Bhagavad Gita and if you've given a Bhagavad Gita to everybody you know, there is still more you can do on this auspicious day. You can participate in an activity called Shastra Dan, the gift of knowledge. Through this program, Toronto Sankirtan Team Toronto has been placing books in various venues across the Greater Toronto area and also nationally across Canada, to prisons, hospitals, hotels, motels, the RCMP, and many, many other venues. We place the Bhagavad Gita to places where people don't know what they're looking for. And you can participate in this by sponsoring the Bhagavad Gita. So all your donations that you make towards sponsoring the Bhagavad Gita are tax deductible, so you can get your tax receipt. And more important than the tax receipt, you get credit in Krishna's little black book, because he notes down somebody who put the effort to share the Bhagavad Gita with somebody else. Another exciting announcement is tomorrow, December 23rd, we will be heading out in different locations across the Greater Toronto area to distribute Bhagavad Gitas. So if you really want to experience the thrill, come join us. We can set you all up. Don't be afraid. There will be many of us going out, and you will get a very exciting experience. So I'm going to stop now, and we have a short video presentation.
We hope, therefore, that people will derive the greatest benefit by studying Bhagavad Gita as it is, as we have presented it here. And even if one man becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, we shall consider our attempt a success. Signed, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Jai Srila Prabhupada. These books make pure devotees. Let's distribute millions of them and let people read and become devotees of Lord Krishna. Go for it. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As you head out for your break, please remember there is a global goal. Devotees everywhere, enthusiasts everywhere are trying to distribute at least 3.7 million Gitas. And please come around and do your little bit. Every little book matters and every bit counts. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
All right, thank you so much. So we're going to come back at 7:30, so that gives you about 5 minutes to get up, stretch. There is some water available as well, right behind me. And we also do have the 2024 calendars available, one per family, so please do be sure to pick that up at some point today too. Thank you. Hare Krishna. We have about 2 minutes left, so please find a seat so we can continue the reading. All right, so if I can ask everyone to settle and find a seat. We're about to begin again, so sorry for devotees that are still standing or still speaking to each other. If you could please find a seat and stop talking for now, and you can continue on later, the conversation, but we're going to get started. It's 7:30. All right, perfect, thank you. Chapter 9.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
No.
Try to speak into the mic, both of you, okay?
Hare Krishna.
We don't need a second.
अथ नवमोऽध्यायः राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगः श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं तु ते गुह्यतमं प्रवक्ष्याम्यनसूयवे ज्ञानं विज्ञानसहितं यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात् राजविद्या राजगुह्यं पवित्रमिदमुत्तमं प्रत्यक्षावगमं धर्म्यं सुखं कर्तुमव्ययम् अश्रद्धधानाः पुरुषा धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि मया ततमिदं सर्वं जगदव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थितः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थो ममात्मा भूतभावनः यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायुः सर्वत्र गो महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय सर्वभूतानि कौन्तेय प्रकृतिं यान्ति मामिकां कल्पक्षये पुनस्तानि कल्पादौ विसृजाम्यहं प्रकृतिं स्वामवष्टभ्य विसृजामि पुनः पुनः भूतग्राममिमं कृत्स्नम् अवशं प्रकृतेर्वशात् न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय उदासीनवदासीनम् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु मयाध्यक्षेण प्रकृतिः सूयते सचराचरम् हेतुनानेन कौन्तेय जगद्विपरिवर्तते अवजानन्ति मां मूढा मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं परं भावमजानन्तो मम भूतमहेश्वरम् मोघाशामोघकर्माणो मोघज्ञानविचेतसः राक्षसीम् आसुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं शिताः महात्मानस्तु मां पार्थ देवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिताः भजन्त्यनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम् सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां यतन्तश्च दृढव्रताः नमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्तो उपासते ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम् अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञः स्वधाहम् अहमौषधम् मन्त्रोऽहमहमेवाज्यम् अहमग्निरहं हुतं पिताहमस्य जगतो माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रमोङ्कार ऋक्सामयजुरेव च
गतिर्भर्ता प्रभुः साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभवः प्रलयः स्थानं निदानं बीजमव्ययम् तपाम्यहम् अहं वर्षं निगृह्णाम्युत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन त्रैविद्या मां सोमपाः पूतपापा यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देवभोगान् ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालं क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्मम् अनुप्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् येऽप्यन्यदेवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्त्य विधिपूर्वकम् अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु मामभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पितॄन् यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्य यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्त्युपहृतम् अश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम् शुभाशुभफलैरेवं मोक्ष्यसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम् अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रास्तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिं किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्या भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यम् असुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व मां मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मत्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैष्यसि युक्त्वेवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगो नाम नवमोऽध्यायः। हरे कृष्ण।
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O mighty Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only, undiluted among men, is freed from all sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise, who perfectly know this, engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa, confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. I am the Supersoul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of light, I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruts, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon. Of the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And in living beings, I am the living force, consciousness. Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru. Of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief, Brihaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya. And of the bodies of water, I am the ocean. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Of all the trees, I am the banyan tree. And of the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha. And among the perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. Of horses, know me to be Uchashraiva, produced during the churning of the ocean of nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Aravata, and among men, I am the monarch. Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the Sarabi. Of causes of procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love. And of serpents, I am Vashuki. Of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta. And among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama. And among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the lord of death. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the wielders of weapons, I am Rama. Of fishes, I am the shark. And of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle, O Arjuna. Of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Of letters, I am the letter A, and among compound words, I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators, I am Brahma. I am all devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Of the hymns in the Sama Veda, I am the Brihat Sama, and of the poetry, I am Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashirsha, November to December, and of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and among great thinkers, I am Ushana. Among all beings of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am wisdom. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring but from a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe.
एकादशोऽध्यायः विश्वरूपदर्शनयोगः अर्जुन उवाच मदोनुग्रहाय परमं गुह्यमाध्यात्मसंज्ञितं यत्त्वयोक्तं वचस्तेन मोहोऽयं विगतः मम भवाप्ययौ हि भूतानां श्रुतौ विस्तारसो मया तत्त्वः कमलपत्राक्ष माहात्म्यम् अपि चाव्ययम् एवमेतद्यथा तत्त्वम् आत्मानं परमेश्वर द्रष्टुमिच्छामि ते रूपम् ऐश्वरं पुरुषोत्तम मन्यसे यदि ताच्चाक्यं मया द्रष्टुमिति प्रभो योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वं दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम् श्रीभगवानुवाच पश्य मे पार्थरूपाणि शतशोत्तरसहस्रशः नानाविधानि दिव्यानि नानावर्णाकृतीनि च पश्यादित्यान् वसून् रुद्रान् अश्विनो मरुतस्तथा बहूनि अदृष्टपूर्वाणि पश्चाश्चर्याणि भारत इहैकस्तं जगत्कृत्स्नं पश्चाद्यासचराचरं मम देहे गुडाकेश यच्चान्या द्रष्टुमिच्छसि न तु मां साक्षसे द्रष्टुम् अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ततो राजन् महायोगेश्वरो हरिः दर्शयामास पार्थाय परमं रूपमैश्वरम् अनेकवक्तनयनम् अनेकाद्भुतदर्शनम् अनेकादिव्याभरणं दिव्यानेकोद्यदायुधम् दिव्यामल्याम्बरधरं दिव्यगन्धानुलेपनं सर्वाश्चर्यमयं देवम् अनन्तं विश्वतोमुखम् दिवि सूर्यसहस्रस्य भवेद्युगपदेदुत्थिता यदि बाहसादृशी स स्यात् भासास्तस्या महात्मनः तत्रैकस्तं जगत्कृत्स्नं प्रभिवक्तुम् अनेकदा अपश्चाद्देवदेवस्य शरीरे पाण्डवस्तथा ततः स विस्मयविष्टो हृष्टरोमा धनञ्जयः प्रणम्य शिरसा देवं कृताञ्जलिरभासत अर्जुन उवाच पश्यामि देवांस्तव देवगेहे सर्वांस्तथा भूतविशेषसङ्घान् ब्रह्माणमीशां कमलासनस्थं ऋषींश सर्वानुरुगांस दिव्यान् अनेकबाहुदरवक्तनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां सर्वतोऽनन्तरूपं नान्तं न मध्यां न पुनस्तवादिं पश्यामि विश्वेश्वर विश्वरूपा किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रिनं च तेजोराशिं सर्वतो दीप्तिमन्तं पश्यामि त्वां दुर्निरीक्ष्यं समन्तद् दीप्तानलार्कादुतिमप्रमेयम् त्वम् अक्षरं परमं वेदितव्यं त्वम् अस्य विश्वस्य परं निधानं त्वम् अव्यया शाश्वतधर्मगोप्ता सनातनस्त्वं पुरुषो मतो मे अनादिमध्यान्तमनन्तवीर्यम् अनन्तबाहुं शशिसूर्यनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तहुताशवक्तं स्वतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तम् द्ववा पृथ्व्योरिदम् अनन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्रवैकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूप उग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यतितं महात्मान् अमीहि त्वां सूरसङ्गा विशन्ति केचिद्भीता प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्गाः श्रुवन्ति त्वं स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः रुद्रादित्या वशवो ये च साध्या विश्वेश्विनो मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्घा वीक्षन्ते त्वं विमिस्तश्चैव सर्वे रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्तनेत्रं महाबाहु बहुबुहुरूपादं बहुदरं बाहुदंष्टाकराळं दृष्ट्वा लोकाः प्रव्यतितस्तथार्तं नाभास्पर्शं दीप्तमनेकवर्णं व्यक्ताननं दीप्तविशालनेत्रं दृष्ट्वा हि त्वां प्रव्यतितान्तरात्मा दितिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णो दंष्टाकरालानि च ते मुखानि दष्ट्वैव कालानलसन्निभानि दिशो न जाने न लभे च शर्मा प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास अमी च त्वां धृतराष्ट्रस्य पुत्राः सर्वे सहैवानि पालाः सङ्घै भीष्मो द्रोणः सूतपुत्रस्तथासौ सहस्मादीयैरपि योद्धमुख्यै वक्तानि ते तव रामणा वसन्ति दंष्टाकराळानि भयानकानि केचिद्विलग्ना दशनान्तरेषु सन्दर्श्यन्ते चूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गै
यथा नदीनां बहावोऽम्बुवेगः समुद्रमेवाभिमुखद्रवन्ति तथा तवामि नरलोकवीरा विशन्ति वक्त्राणि अभिज्वलन्ति यथा प्रदीप्तां ज्वलनां पतङ्ग विशन्ति नाशाय समृद्धवेगाः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकास्तवापि वक्त्राणि समृद्धवेगाः लेलियसेग्रसमानसमन्ताल् लोकान् समग्रान् वदने ज्वलाब्धिभिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जमत्समग्रं भाषस्तवोग्रा प्रतुपन्ति विष्णु आख्यानि मे को भवन् उग्ररूपो नमोऽस्तु ते देववरप्रसीद विजानातुमिच्छामि भवन्तुमाद्यां न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम् श्रीभगवान् उवाच कालोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुम् इह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे येव स्थितः प्रत्यज्ञानिकेषु योधाः तस्मात् त्वमुत्तिष्ठ यथो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रुं भुङ्क्ष्य राज्यं समृद्धं मयैवैते निहिता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन् द्रोणं च भीष्मं च जयद्रथं च कर्णं तथान्यान् अपि योधवीरान् माया हतांस्त्वां जहिमे व्यतिष्ठ युध्यस्व जेतासि रणे सपत्नान् सञ्जय उवाच एतत् श्रुत्वा वचनं केशवस्य कृताञ्जलिर्वेपमानकिरीटी नमस्कृत्वा भूय एव कृष्णं स गद्गदं भीत प्रणम्याम् अर्जुन उवाच स्थाने ऋषिकेश तवा प्रकीर्त्या जगत्प्रहस्यति अनुरज्यते च रक्षांसि भीतानि दिशो द्रवन्ति सर्वे नमस्यन्ति च सिद्धसङ्गः कस्माच्च तेन नमरेन्महात्मन् गरीयसे ब्राह्मणोऽपि अधिकर्त्रे अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवास त्वम् अक्षरं सत् असत् तत्परं यत् त्वम् आदिदेव पुरुषस्पुराण त्वम् आस्य विश्वस्य परं निधानम् वेतासि वेद्यं च परं च धाम त्वया ततं विश्वम् अनन्तरूपा वायुर्यमो अग्निर्वरुणश्च शाङ्कः प्रजापतिस्त्वां प्रपितामहाश्च नमो नमस्तेस्तु सहस्रकृत्वा पुनश्च भूयोऽपि नमो नमस्ते नमः पुरस्तात् अतः प्रतस्तास्ते नमोऽस्तु ते सर्वत एव सर्व अनन्तवीर्यामितविक्रमस्त्वं सर्वं समाप्नोसि ततोऽसि सर्वः सखेति मत्वा प्रसवं यदुक्तं हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति अजानता महिमानं तवेदं माया प्रमादात् प्रणायेन वापि यच्चावः सार्थम् असत्कृतोऽसि विहारशय्यासनभोजनेषु एकोतव्यापि अच्युत तत्समक्षं तत्समये त्वाम् अहम् अप्रमेयम् पीतासि लोकस्य चराचरस्य त्वम् आस्य पूजश्च गुरून् गरीयान् न त्वत्समोऽस्ति अभ्याधिककुतुन्यो लोकत्रयेऽपि अप्रपृता प्रभावम् तस्मात् प्रणम्य प्रणिधाय कायां प्रसादये त्वाम् अहम् ईशम् ईद्याम् पितेव पुत्रस्य सखेव सख्युः प्रिया प्रियार्हसि देव सोढुम् अदृष्टपूर्वं ऋषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भायेन च प्रवृत्तितां मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शयादेव रूपं प्रसिद्धदेवेश जगन्निवासा किरीटनं गदिनं चक्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुम् अहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते श्रीभगवान् उवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदं रूपं परं दर्शितम् आत्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वम् अनन्तम् आद्यं यन्मे त्वादन्येन न दृष्टपूर्वम् न वेदयज्ञाध्यायनैर्न जानैर्न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रै एवं रूपशक्य अहं नरलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीरा मा ते व्यथा मा च विमूढभावो दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरम् इदृन्ममेदं व्यापेत विप्रीतमना पुनस्त्वं तदेव मे रूपम् इदं प्रपश्या सञ्जय उवाच इति अर्जुनं वासुदेवस्ततोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयाम् आशभूया आश्वास्याम् आस च बीतम् एनं भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेदं मानुषं रूपं तवा सौम्यं जनार्दन इदानीम् अस्मि संवृत्तः सचेत प्रकृतिं गतः श्रीभगवान् उवाच सुदुर्दर्शम् इदं रूपं दृष्टवान् असि यन्मम देव अपि अस्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शनकाङ्क्षिणः नाहं वेदैर्न तपसा न दानेन च यज्ञया शक्य एवं विदो द्रष्टुं दृष्टवान् असि मां यथा भक्त्या त्वा अनन्याय सख्या अहम् एवं विदो अर्जुन ज्ञातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तप मत्कर्म कृन्मत्परमो मद्भक्तः सङ्गवर्जितः निर्वैर सर्वभूतेषु यस माम् एति पाण्डवा। हरे कृष्ण।
Chapter 12. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. One who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-control and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. He for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Shri Radha Kirchor Gopinath ki jai, Gaunitai ki jai, Jagannath Subhadra Nimal Naam ki jai. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result is very dear to me. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who does not care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Chapter 13, Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness. Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragnam Evacha Etad Vedim Ichchami Gnanam Gneyam Cha Keshava. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram Iti Abhidiyate Etad yo veti tam prahu kshetragna iti tadvida. Kshetragnam api mam vidi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetra kshetragnayor jnanam yattaj jnanam matam mama. Tat kshetram yatcha yadrakcha yad vikari yatascha yat. Sacha yo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shrunu. Reshbir Buddha Gitam Chandobir Vividay Prathak Brahma Sutra Padeschaiva Hetu Madbir Vinischitay Mahabhutani Ahankaro Buddhir Avyaktam Evacha Indriyani Dashaikam Cha Pancha Chendriya Gochara Ichcha Dvesha Sukham Dukkham Sangatas Chetana Dhriti Etat Kshetram Samasena Savikaram Udaratam Amanitvam Adambhaitvam Ahimsa Shantir Arjavam Acharyopasanam Shaucham Stairyam Atma Vinigraha Indriyartheshu Vairagyam Ahankara Evacha Janma Mrityu Jaravyadi Dukkha Doshanudarshanam Asaktir putra dara graha dishu nityam cha samachitatvam ishtanisto papatishu mahi chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini vivikta deshe sevitam arti jana samassiti adhyatma gnana nityatvam tattva gnanartha darshanam Etajnanam iti proktam agnanam yad ato anyatha neyam yattat pravakshami yajnatvartam ashnute anadimat param brahma nasattan nasad uchyate sarvatra pani padam tat sarvato akshi shiro mukham sarvata shruti malloke sarvam avratya tishtati Sarvendriya gunabhasham sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarva brachaiva nirgunam gunabhoktarcha bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charam evacha सूक्ष्मवात् तद् अविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तम् इव च स्थितं भूतभर्तर् च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रहणीषु प्रभविष्णुश्च ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिस्तमस्परम् उच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य अवस्थितम् इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञेय मद्भावायोपपद्यते प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विद्धि अनादि उभावपि विकारामश्च गुणामेश्च विद्धि प्रकृति संभावन् कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुर्प्रकृति उच्यते पुरुष सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृति जना गुण कारण गुण संगोस्य सद असद योनि जन्मसु उपद्रष्टा मंतानु च भक्ता भोक्ता महेश्वर परमात्मेति चापि युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुष पर य एवं वेति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयो अभिजायते ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिद् आत्मना अन्यसाङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्यत्व एवम् अजानन्त श्रुत्र उपासते ते अपि चाति तरन्ति एव मृत्युं श्रुति परायणा यावत् संजायते किंचित् सतत्वं सावरजंगमं क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञ संयोगात् तद्विधि भरत्सर्व समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्यस्व अविनश्यत्तं य पश्यति स पश्यति समं पश्यं हि सर्वत्र समस्थितम् ईश्वरं न हिनस्ति आत्मानमतं ततो यात परं गतिं प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः य पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकार्त्रं स पश्यति यदा भूत पृथग्भावम् एकस्थम् अनुपश्यति तथा एव च विस्तारं ब्रह्म संपदायते तदा अनादित्वान् निर्गुणावात् परमात्मनि अव्यय शरीरोऽस्ति अपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्याद् अशक्षं नोत्पील्यते सर्वत्रोऽतिविनस्तेः तथात्मानो लिप्यते यथा प्रकाशायत्य एक क्षेत्रं लोकम् इमं रवि क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा क्षेत्रं प्रकाशयति भारत क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूत प्रकृतिर्मोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्
Chapter 14, the three modes of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, Almighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. O sinless one, the modes of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the mode of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachments, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusions are manifested. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in the fruitive activities. And one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. The result of pious action is pure, and it is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from mode of ignorance develops foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work, then these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, can enjoy nectar even in this life. Arjuna inquired, "My dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the mode of nature?" The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O son of Pandu, he who does not hate elimination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated, equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness.
श्रीमद् भगवद गीता अथ पंचोदशो अध्यायः पुरुषोत्तम योग। श्री भगवान उवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित् अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रस्तुतास्तस्य शाखा गुण प्रवृद्धा विषय प्रवालः अधश्च मूल्यान अनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धिनी मनुष्य लोके न रूपम अस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादि न च संप्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थम एनं सुविरूढ़ मूलम असंग शस्त्रेण दृढ़ेन चित्वा तत पदम तत् परिमार्गितव्यम यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तम एव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी निर्माण मोहाजित संग दोष अध्यात्म नित्या विनिवृत्त कामः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुख दुःख संज्ञैर् गच्छन्त्य अमूढाः पदम अव्ययं तत् न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूत सनातनः मनः षष्ठानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यत् अवाप्नोति यच्चाप्य उत्क्रामति ईश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धान् इवाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं ग्राहणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयान् उपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं सितं वापि मुञ्जानं व गुणान्वितं विमूढा नानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्य आत्मन अवस्थितं यतन्तो अप्य अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्त्य अचेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयते अखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकं गामाविश्य च भूतानि धाराम्याम्य अहम् ओजसा पुष्णामि चौषधिः सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहम् आश्रितः प्राणपाना समायुक्तः पचाम्य अन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहम् एव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेद विदेव चाहं द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षर सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थो अक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्व अन्यः परमात्मेत्य उदाहृतः यलोकत्रयम् आविश्य बिभर्त्य अव्यय ईश्वरः यस्मात्क्षरम् अतीतो अहम् अक्षरात् अपि चोत्तमः अतो अस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो माम् एवम् असम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत ओम तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे पुरुषोत्तम योग नाम पंचोदशो अध्यायः। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Chapter 16, the Divine and the Demonic Natures. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demonic nature, O son of Pritha. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am the perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules and regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I have perpetually cast them into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. Attaining repeated birth among the species of demonic life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give this up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rituals and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated.
अथ सप्तदशोऽध्यायः गुणत्रयविभागयोगः अर्जुन उवाच ये शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्त्वमाहो रजस्तमः श्रीभगवानुवाच त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तां शृणु सत्त्वानुरूपा सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धामयोऽयं पुरुषो योश्चच्छद्र स एव च यजन्ते सात्विका देवान् यक्षरक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं तप्यन्ते ये तपो जनाः दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ता कामरागबलान्विताः कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्रामम् अचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान् आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदम् इमं शृणु आयुस्सत्त्वबलारोग्य सुखप्रीतिविवर्धनाः रस्याः स्निग्धा स्थिरा हृद्या आहाराः सात्विकप्रियाः कट्वं लवणात्युष्ण तीक्ष्णरुक्षा विदाहिनः आहारा राजसस्येष्टा दुःखशोकमयप्रदाः यथा यमं गतरसं पूतिपर्युषितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम् अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्यज्ञो विधिधिष्ठो ययुज्यते यष्टव्यम् एवेति मनः समाधाय स सात्विकः अभिसन्धाय तु फलं दम्भार्थम् अपि चैव यत् युज्यते भरतश्रेष्ठा तं यज्ञं विद्धि राजसम् विधिहीनम् अशिष्टान्नं मन्त्रहीनम् अदक्षिणम् श्रद्धाविरहितं यज्ञं तामसं परिचक्षते देवद्विजगुरुप्राज्ञपूजनं शौचमार्जवम् ब्रह्मचर्यम् अहिंसा च शरीरं तप उच्यते अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते मनःप्रसादः सम्यक्त्वं मौनम् आत्मविनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरित्येतत् तपो मानसमुच्यते श्रद्धया परया तप्तं तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरैः अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्युक्तैः सात्विकं परिचक्षते सत्कारामनपूजार्थं तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् क्रियते तदिह प्रोक्तं राजसं चलमध्रुवम् मूढग्राहेणात्मनो यत्पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसम् उदाहृतम् दातव्यम् इति यद्दानं दीयतेऽनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम् यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थं फलम् उद्दिश्य वा पुनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं तद्दानं राजसं स्मृतम् अदेशकाले यद्दानम् अपात्रेभ्यश्च दीयते असत्कृतम् अवज्ञातं तत्तामसमुदाहृतम् ॐ तत्सदिति निर्देशो ब्रह्मणस्त्रिविधः स्मृतः ब्राह्मणस्तेन वेदाश्च यज्ञास्तद्विहिताः पुरा तस्माद् ॐ इत्युदाहृत्य यज्ञदानतपः क्रियाः प्रवर्तन्ते विधानोक्ता सततं ब्रह्मवादिनां तद्यद् इति अनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपक्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विविधा क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः सद्भावे साधुभावे च सद्येतत् प्रयुज्यते प्रशस्ते कर्मणि तथा सच्छब्दः पार्थयुज्यते यज्ञे तपसि दाने च स्थितिः सद् इति चोच्यते कर्म चैव तदर्थीयं सद्येवाभिधीयते अश्रद्धया हुतं दत्तं तपस्तप्तं कृतं च यत् असद्इत्युच्यते पार्थ न च तत्प्रेत्य नो इह ॐ तत्सद् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे गुणत्रयविभागयोगो नाम सप्तदशोऽध्यायः।
chapter 18, conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyag, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas. O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyas. And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyag. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty. O son of Pritha, that is my final opinion. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in a mode of ignorance. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in a mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. O Arjuna, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. The intelligent renouncer, situated in a mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruit of action is called one who has truly renounced. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after that. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such results to suffer or enjoy. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action. Whether a right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are 3 factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the 3 constituents of action. According to the 3 different modes of material nature, there are 3 kinds of knowledge: action and performer of action. Now hear of them from me. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in a mode of goodness. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in a mode of passion. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage, or for violence or distress caused to others is said to be in a mode of ignorance. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering, his success and failure is said to be a worker in a mode of goodness. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desire to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow is said to be in a mode of passion. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating is said to be a worker in a mode of ignorance. O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating is in the mode of goodness. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives always to be in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained by the steadfastness by yoga practice, and by which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determined to be a mode of goodness. But that determination by which one holds a fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in a mode of darkness. O best of the Bhartas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. That which in the beginning may just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appear like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from the beginning to the end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance.
There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, O chastiser of the enemy. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness, these are the natural qualities by which the Brahmins work. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Sudras there is labor and service to others. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. One who is self-controlled and unattached, and who disregards all material enjoyments, can obtain, by practice of renunciation, the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. O Scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential, deliberate, and then do what you wish to do. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind, and are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions. Sanjaya said, thus I have heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. By the mercy of Vyas, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, morality. That is my opinion. Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishna Bhagavan Ki.
Okay, so I lied. I said it would take 3.5 hours to 4 hours, and we made actually very good time, so I lied, sorry. And you can probably sense a very nice vibration in the room as well, probably, yes? From 6 p.m. to now, a nice sense in the room of vibrations, yes? So I would like to thank all the reciters for today in both Sanskrit and English. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you. Thank you, Jessica, thank you. And thanks to all of you for coming tonight. It's a Friday night. You could be anywhere else in the city of Toronto, but you chose to spend your Friday night with us. So thank you so much for doing that. So we do have some announcements before we get to go today. So just bear with me. But for first, we would like to call up Shama Mohini Mataji. Yes, that's perfect. There's a video that they're trying to get up. So we're going to have an update from the Sankirtan team.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we just finished reading this Bhagavad Gita, and what a great way to end this sublime mood, this gathering Sangha. Let's watch this beautiful video, short presentation straight from Sri Vrindavan Dham. So appreciate your kind attention as soon as it streams.
Hare Krishna, everyone. We're here at Govinda Kund. I have these beautiful gavachams. I like these. They're beautiful, and inside each one there's a mantra. Hantayam Adra Abala Haridasavaryo Yad Rama Krishna Chananash Parasha Pramoda Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayasta Yoya Paniya Suyafasa Kanda Nakanda Mulai. This is a mantra spoken by the gopis, and we've inserted one into each one of these kavachas, and we're taking the kavachas all over the Vrindavan area, especially Govardhan, and dipping them in Govinda Kund. We're taking them to the Nrsinga temple, and then we're going to distribute them to you. So I hope you like them. I think they're beautiful. and they're very heart-touching. We have a huge goal this year, 3.7 million Bhagavad Gitas, and we're asking everyone, please, volunteer, sponsor a case of Bhagavad Gitas or many more, and distribute them to your friends. Or we have pipelines through which we can distribute Bhagavad Gitas to prisons, to hospitals, to schools, and to countries all over the world. Now's the time to get involved with distributing Bhagavad Gita. Let's save the world. Krishnaya. May the blessings of Sri Uddhava come into your lives, into your homes, and may it empower you to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, especially by distributing profuse numbers of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Shri Uddhava Kund ki jai. Only by the causeless mercy of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada do we dare to enter this most exalted of spiritual arenas. And here we're offering these kavachams, dipping them in Sri Radha Kund, praying for everyone's success in spiritual life. Shri Radha Kund ki jai. Shama Kund ki jai. Dear Shri Radha Kund, Shama Kund, please bless our international Sankirtan team to smash all our goals to please Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. We're at the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Madhavinda Puri. Krishna is so pleased with his service that he revealed himself and gave him an eternal spot here at Govardhan Hill to worship him. We'll receive the same benediction by following in his footsteps and serving Krishna in the best possible way by distributing Bhagavad Gita as it is. I'm placing these kavachams at the lotus feet of Srila Madhavinda Puri here at Govardhan Hill. Srila Madhavinda Puri ki jai. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. If you so desire, please empower us to spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world, following the orders of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to cover the world with transcendental literature. We're here begging at the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami for His special mercy, and may everyone who has joined the Sankirtan movement receive the special mercy of this most exalted of Goswamis. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai. Srila Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Inside these kavachas is a beautiful mantra to Giriraj spoken by the gopis, and I'm offering it to Giri Govardhan. May anyone who wears these kavachams be eternally blessed with love for Krishna. Dear Lord Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please bless anybody who wears these kavachas, that they'll always be protected from anartas, or unwanted things, unnecessary necessities, and they'll always have full focus on serving the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Kirchor Gopinath, and Shri Shri Panchatattva. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. You take so much risk to go in Sankirtan. May Lord Nrsingadev protect you. Hare Krishna. I have a very specific thought and a desire that I'd like to express to everyone here at the very tip of Govardhan Hill. We're not distributing enough Bhagavad Gitas. Our goal this year is to distribute 3.7 million. That's actually a lot. But from another point of view, it's not, because the Gideon Society distributes at least 70 million Bibles every year in over 108 languages. Now the other day, someone said to me, but Vaisheshika Das, they've been doing it longer than us. No, they haven't. Our Sampradaya is called the Sampradaya book. It started with Lord Brahma. We have a big head start and we're way behind. Could we just pick up the pace a little bit? Can't we at least do over 70 million Bhagavad Gitas a year? Of course we can. Everyone who thinks that it's time to increase the number of Bhagavad Gita as it is that we distribute all over the world, please say Giriraj.
Hare Krishna. So as you all saw, the breaking news is we have some of these kavachas right here in Toronto tonight. So please, we could only get few. As you saw, there was a bunch and a lot of devotees were fighting for it. So we were able to get few here, and jokes apart, they're available as a token of appreciation and gratitude to those who will support the Shastradan program, you know, the Gift of Gita, the Prabhupada Marathon, which we talked about. So please come forward after Prasadam if you like. And they're available, there are many levels as you can see, starting with $500, level 1, and going all the way up. There is no minimum, no maximum. You can support from your heart. We have a big goal, part of the global goal, to distribute and sponsor 27,000 Gitas here in Team Toronto. And this is our way on this special auspicious day of Gita Jayanti to work together as a team and reach our goal. So these kavachas, these blessed kavachas are available for level 1 and above. So please consider $500 or more, and we'll be grateful to share these blessed kavachas as a token of gratitude.
We just want to also share that there is no minimum and there is no maximum. So please don't feel like, oh, I can't do that. Do whatever you can, because Krishna knows your heart. And He will see what we give according to what we have. So please, please, please consider helping somebody out by sharing this message of the Gita. We're very fortunate. Let's extend our fortune and make this world a better place, one book at a time. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thanks to the organizing team for this wonderful program. Over to them.
Thank you so much. Does everyone here have a Gita at home? If not, today's the best day to buy one. So if you are interested in getting a copy at home, please do so. I know I'm between you and Prashad for just a few more moments, and we'll finish up. So for those of you who are inspired to learn more about the Gita, we do have virtual sessions for kids and adults. And so if you would like more details, there is a notice board outside for those details. Festivities will continue throughout the weekend. So on Sunday, we do have a very special holiday kirtan starting at 2 p.m., ending at 6 p.m., and then after which we'll have our Sunday feast. So we hope to see all of you there at 2 p.m. right here. We would like to thank all the volunteers that put together this festival, and we especially would like to thank our cooks for today. So the cooks for today are Badra Krishna Prabhu, Rasmandal Prabhu, and Nitya Tripta Mataji and their team. So could we please thank them? Thank you. And so we do have a request in terms of the prasad today. So please do form a queue, and I'm seeing that the queue is forming already, so that's great. But it will be takeout containers, and so please, when you do get your container, please try not to honor the prasad here, but please do take it home. But also be mindful of our neighbors, so please make sure that those plates are going to garbage bins, not to lawns, not to roads. Make sure that they're going where they should, because we want to be very mindful and respectful of the folks down the street. And if anyone is available, we do need some help to tidy up the temple room by stacking up chairs and taking them back to the chair room. So if any of you can stay behind to help us with that service, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. A gentle reminder again that we do have the 2024 calendars, one for families. So if you would like to like one, please do visit the front desk for that. And I think that is all in terms of announcements. So thank you so much for coming tonight. It's so nice to see everyone. And we hope to see you all on Sunday for our Sunday feast and for the special holiday kirtan that starts again at 2 p.m. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Haribol.